Do you know this feeling when something here kind of squeezes your heart? When you almost stop breathing? Somebody call it anxiety. Somebody calls it panic attack. But what if I tell you that this is not something bad? This is actually your guardian angel touching your heart. He's telling you, I'm right next to you. I'm here. The feeling doesn't change, right? It still feels weird in the body, but the perception changes. So the power of reframing, renaming, and changing not the circumstances, but your attitude towards them is actually something that gives you freedom and power. I've tried it so many times in my life. You know, I'm half-blooded. It means that I have half Russian blood from my mother and half Georgian blood from my father. I've lived for many, many years in Moscow, being called that Georgian. Not to mention worse words that I would not be repeating here today, with all this xenophobia arising and other unpleasant things. So in 2019, I moved to Georgia, and suddenly I became that Russian. Oh, not a comfortable label to be wearing these days, you know? And I was like, seriously? Guys, you are trying to fit me into something you understand. You want me to be understandable for you, and you are trying to squeeze me into some kind of rules, into some kind of perceptions that you have of me. That was quite painful, I should say. For many years, I've been living with this feeling that something is wrong with me. I am not okay, they were telling me. You do not know our fairy tales. You have not seen cartoons that we've been raised on. You are not like us. You should be ashamed of yourself. But at some point, I was thinking about what's going on. And I found a fantastic term. It says, third culture kids. People who were shaped by different cultures of their parents. And I was like, amazing, that's me. Third culture child, somebody who is different, who doesn't fit into the frame, who cannot be named, who cannot be categorized. This is my identity, this is my nationality, if you want. I'm a third culture child, standing proud today in front of you. And at some point, I made a public appearance stating that from now on, my nationality and my identity would be third culture child. And I started receiving comments, messages, phone calls from my friends and from people I hardly knew, from complete strangers. They were telling me, oh my God, for so many years, I've been living in this disgusting pain. I thought that there was something wrong with me. But you helped me to understand who I am. You helped me to understand who my children are. So, did the circumstances change? No. But I decided that being a third culture child, not fitting into the frames somebody is proposing me, is my superpower. And I decided that from now on, I'm not gonna be not okay. I'm gonna be superwoman with a superpower. And actually, this attitude works really well in professional life. For many, many, many years, I've been dreaming of making a grand, major fashion exhibition in Georgia. I wanted to bring costumes from world-famous fashion designers to Tbilisi and put them next to the national costumes, showing the inspiration from Georgian culture going worldwide to the whole world, to the biggest fashion houses. And that was very simple. I mean, the project was there. I had all the contacts after working 15 years in the fashion industry. And I realized that I can do that. Just a couple of steps, several phone calls, emails, sponsors, and there we are, having the exhibition. Well, but then the reality came on stage, and I realized that I can bring any costume from any big brand in Paris to Tbilisi, but I do not have national costumes because they need restoration. And I cannot do restoration because we do not have a restoration workshop. And I cannot build a restoration workshop because I need institutional support. And even if I do build the restoration workshop, I do not have restorers who will be working there because we do not have the academic program for restorers of textile in Georgia. And I was like, that's kind of going to be a bit longer than I expected, a bit harder than I expected. And my first attempt to make this project failed. And I almost gave up. I was thinking like, okay, looks like I cannot do that because it's not just it's not just one thing missing. It's the whole ecosystem missing. But then I remembered, okay, let's try the power of reframing in this case. And what I did, I realized that if for my dream to come true, I need to build the whole ecosystem in the country, and I need to put a fundament for my dream, let it be my mission. Even if I do not have the exhibition, even if my grandchildren will have to proceed with actually making the exhibition, I will create a fundament for them to achieve something later. And that was a very empowering, experience. I can fulfill my dream, and I can create circumstances for my dream. Isn't that amazing? I mean, just imagine, whatever you can dream of, you can actually create the base for. But, for that, you actually need a very adult mindset. We very often hear other people saying, I didn't have time for that. Oh my God, I'm so overloaded. What's happening with this world? Everything is so difficult. I was there also. Several years ago, my mindset was totally the same. I was saying, I am so overloaded. Like, as if somebody came and overloaded me, as if somebody has put all this pressure on me. But the truth, well, quite unpleasant one, I should say, is that I was the one who overloaded myself. I was the one who did not find time for making myself happy. I was the one who created this burden, which I was carrying myself, and I decided that from now on, I will be more self-responsible. So I have this system, I call it the system of anchors. When you are planning, when you are doing your schedule, first thing you do is you put your anchors there, things that make you smile, things that make you happy. For me, it's yoga or meditations or drawing. So I have in my schedule planned slots for yoga, meditation, massage, having fun. I even plan the evenings with my husband, like romantic evenings. And then I plan all the rest. My Zooms, my working meetings, whatever. Because if I do the other way around, I will never have time for happiness. I will never have time for something that brings joy. And that's easy. I mean, if you now tell me, she's a freelancer, she's a blogger, she's an influencer, she can do whatever she wants, she can schedule her calendar as she likes it, that is not self-responsibility. That means that you are waiting for somebody to come and rescue you. And if you tell me, I do not have time for joy, I need to work, it's the same like telling me, oh, I don't have time to breathe, I need to be swimming. I'm sorry, how far away you're going to swim if you're not going to be breathing? Not far, right? So that's how it works, especially for us women. When we want to do something, we need this creative energy. And this creative energy does not come from hard work, But a lot of people are texting me, sending me messages like, how do you do it? I want to do it like you. What's the recipe? What should I do? What's the rule? And they come to me and they want to do the same. But when we start talking and when we start looking for the answer why they cannot do that, almost all the time, 10 out of 10, the answer is they are searching for a magic button. They press the magic button and miracle happens. Or they are waiting for somebody to rescue them. Like a princess in a high tower sitting there and waiting for a white horse bringing a prince to her and saving her. Expecting that somebody would come and tell, I will take care of your happiness. I will take care of your joy. The truth that we all actually need to grieve now is, the prince is not coming. And we ourselves have to be our white horses. I feel a little bit like a stand-upper, So this is a shift that we all need to have. We are our own rescue team. Nobody else but us. It's our own responsibility to rescue ourselves. People sometimes tell me, especially, all these anonymous hater commentators who are always trying to tell you that you live wrong way. So they often text me, how can you be talking about happiness? Are you not reading news? Have you not seen what's happening in the world? We're standing right in front of the World War III. How can you be happy? How can somebody be happy when there is so much violence, children dying, illnesses, whatever? Do you have a lack of empathy? What's wrong with you, Natela? And, well, if we're talking about empathy, I'm somebody who is crying on the advertisings with the puppies, so I think I have enough of empathy. But the truth is that this is an excuse. When you do not give yourself space and you do not give yourself right to be happy, and you're always finding for excuses, it means that nobody in this world can be happy. All the people all the time should be thinking only about how unfair this world is. And you know what? For 4 years already, I've been working for the charity foundation we have established several years ago together with my friends. Hospital clowns who are going to the most difficult departments of hospitals, where palliative children spend their last days. And we have seen their mothers. And you know what? These women are actually smiling. You know why? Because they celebrate life. They know that there are only a few months left for them to spend with their children. What they can be doing is crying and grieving because their children will die soon. And it's inevitable, it will happen anyway. But what they do, they laugh. They enjoy every second of life. They celebrate life until the death. And their philosophy is, I'm not grieving before the death comes. And even after that, one mother told me, when this tragic day comes, I will not be grieving. I will be thankful for the time that I've spent with my child. You see? You see, that's the reframing. That's how it works. That's when you take the responsibility for your suffering and you choose not to suffer. For the first time, I realized that it is actually absolutely possible to feel suffering. I went for a Vipassana meditation, and that was a very exciting experience because for 10 days I had to be silent, totally silent. For somebody being a Gemini, that's a kind of challenge, you know. But I started meditating, and what you do is you sit for many, many hours in a meditation, not moving, and your body becomes very numb, and you feel very, unpleasant. You feel pains, and you want all this to come to an end as quickly as possible. And the truth is that after an hour of meditating, it actually comes to an end. So your brain starts learning that even if you are in an overwhelming pain, this will end. Any pain will end. Sometimes you can feel the free flow, a very pleasant, a little bit ecstatic feeling. But after an hour, it also goes away. Your brain is learning not to be attached either to pain or to something very ecstatic and pleasant. Because everything passes. Anicca. Exactly. So you've also been to Vipassana, you know that. And you know what I'm talking about. And isn't it empowering? Isn't it amazing when you can actually not be attached to any kind of sufferings because you know they will come to an end, whether you want it or not? And a lot of people tell me, oh my God, you're so brave. You're doing so many amazing things. How come you're not afraid? No. It's not that I'm not afraid. That's a very wrong perception. I don't think that actually people can be categorized by somebody who are not afraid and somebody who are afraid. No, that's the wrong perception. The truth is that there are people who are afraid and do not do something, and people who are afraid but still do something. And I prefer to be in the second category, being afraid, but doing. I'm thankful to my fear for showing me the risks. But I do not let my fear to be the captain of my life because he's not really a good advisor, too panicking, too anxious. So the fear is a good advisor for risks, but a very, very bad captain. That's where the choice comes. That's where the power of reframing comes. If somebody would ask me, okay, you've been talking for so long, what would be just one sentence you wanted these people to remember after you leave? Well, actually, this sentence was said by somebody 1,000 times wiser than me thousands of years ago, and he said, rise and walk. Isn't that wise? I mean, what else could I add to that? And there is also another thing. If you want to be happy, be. Should I actually add anything to that? This is the power of reframing. When I finish my meditations, when I finish my yoga, I always say one phrase. It sounds like Loka Sutrino Samaste Bhavantu. It means let every being in the universe be free of suffering. And I usually add to that because all the shit happening in the world is actually happening from suffering. People are not good or bad. People are either acting because they suffer or acting because they can't control their suffering. And today, what I want you to do is choose not to suffer and make this your identity. Make this your everyday promise. Make this your everyday choice choose self-responsibility, choose perspective, choose joy, choose not to suffer, and always stay on the bright Nateli side. Thank you.